groovy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Film Fights. I am your fearless host, Jono Rodriguez, and with me, of course, is my zombie. What be? No, my Deadite. That's right. He's Madeleine Albright, as in he's too light of a guide in the Wright brothers plane, because that's old school, which is exactly what these movies are about. I'm talking about Conrad Hartman. Hello, Conrad. How are you?
I'm ready to get some. I'm great.
Which one? Are you ready to come, get some, or great?
all the above. D. Yeah, there's ash on my cigar. I'm so ready.
Because we all know that famous expression, hey, are you ready to go? Don't I have ash on my cigar? What do you think?
Yeah, well, you don't want to leave when your cigar hasn't burnt at all. You don't want to leave when you've just lit it. Like, hey, you ready to go?
Sure.
I just lit my... There's not even any ash on it.
Well, you also don't want to leave if you're a tree.
That's right, because then you're playing into the age-old joke that, honestly, harmful to the tree community. Because some trees don't have leaves, and we want to respect them too.
We do.
So you want to make like a tree and be yourself and speak your truth, or keep your truth silent.
If you want to make like a tree, grow, you know? Thrive.
Oh, my God.
Be dispensable.
I'm great, Jono. How are you? How's it going?
I am doing swimmingly, and by swimmingly, I mean bloodily.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
No, why are you asking? No, I ask you, what are your plans for this weekend?
My plans for right now, I can tell you, are to take two movies. Normally would be to take two movies
for
and
you.
pit them against one another in a brutal grudge match, with one coming out on top to reign supreme. But my plans got thwarted.
Uh-oh.
Because this is a very special episode of Film Fights. We're throwing in a mid-year springtime.
That's in the middle.
It's in the middle of the first third of the year. Which is a franchise frenzy episode. We're not talking about two movies. We're not talking about four movies. That's too much.
It's too much for this mid-end quarter third of the year.
See, you have an understanding of the Gregorian calendar based on that.
I absolutely do, because I am go great.
We are doing a franchise frenzy, folks, and we're talking about Evil Dead. The Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. And Army of Darkness.
Oh my God.
That's right. Ya boys, the film fighters extraordinaires, are going to be talking about these three flicks, and we're going to put them in order of what we like.
Yep. Not of what is liked, but of what we like.
Yeah, so all of you fellow nerds out there, get ready to be upset.
Get ready to be upset, yes, because, and I will correct you, Conrad, because I know our lovely spectators are already screaming at their iPhones and their little quartz radios.
They are already typing a furious email to battles@filmfightspodcast.com right now.
Yes, and future Jono's looking at it, shaking his head at you, not you guys, at you. Wait,
me.
At Conrad.
Wait,
not at
me, Conrad.
You, Conrad, not the
wonderful listener that happens to be named Conrad.
Yes, who is emailing us at battles@filmfightspodcast.com. No, because you pulled a Jono and got the first two movies confused. It's The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and then Army of Darkness.
The dangling article.
Yeah, it's that dangling article. Whenever I have a dangling article, I just have more fiber in my diet. But in addition to that, we will sort of brush along other Evil Dead Army of Darkness related stuff, like the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show, the comic books.
That's right. We're going to brush
yeah.
that melted butter on top of our biscuits. Or we're going to sprinkle a little flaky salt on top. But, you know, the flour and frozen butter and buttermilk, those are the three movies.
Those... Because I can eat those individually. Those other
You can eat flour individually?
I can. You never have a buck of flour? That's what I call a spoon, by the way, a buck.
A buck?
Because I'm always bucking them.
Some homeless person is like, hey, you got a few bucks? And you're like, I sure do. And you hand them spoons, and they're like...
Well, I think it's weird they ask for them. That's why I have a car full of spoons.
You're like, wow, ham bone has gotten real popular.
I'm like,
lately.
plastic, aluminum, or silver.
Oh, you're wearing the trench coat.
Yes.
So they're like, can I get some bucks? And you're like, what kind? Open up your trench coat. Oh, I forgot to put on pants. Well, I just wanted to show you the spoons.
Yeah, I open it up. I'm like, what are you buying?
Hey, stranger.
Not enough cash. We're going to be talking about... now, I hold these flicks to my Deadite heart because I grew up with these movies. Now, I was one of those latchkey kids who grew up in an old-timey time where the parents were like, oh, you want to just watch anything you want? Okay.
Cool, I'm going to go do Quaaludes in the discotheque.
Loads of Quaaludes.
Loads of Quaaludes. They were taking a bunch of pills. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
That's how
they
I
were
learned.
off in the discotheque drinking pink squirrels and fuzzy children. Ironic because they weren't at home with their children, but they were drinking drinks called fuzzy children.
Fuzzy children,
Yeah.
which, as we all know, is 2 parts fuzzy.
1 part ground
Lost
up Teddy
child.
Grahams. Oh. Well, it's regional, so it depends on what part of the country you're in.
It's basically a fuzzy navel, but it's served by an orphan.
It's like finishing salt. You know those tears.
Like a werewolf orphan.
A little tear drops into the drink. Oh man, just sets off the flavor.
It makes a difference.
It does.
Some people think, it's like those gold flakes on a dessert log, but it makes a difference.
Listen, you got to break a few orphans to make a drink. You know what I'm saying?
Their will or the bones doesn't matter.
I mean,
now, it might not happen. Because we might be dead.
We might be evil dead.
We might be already dead, and you're not even listening to this.
We're just mocking you like the Deadites mocked Ash. So why don't we jump right in to the first of 3 with The Evil Dead, starring Sam Raimi.
Wait, Raimi. It's not Raimi.
Yeah,
Don't
I like Raimi
insult
better.
him.
Yeah, I know. I would like that to be a rapper name, Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi? Oh, yeah.
Well, here I've got the Evil Dead, and don't be scared, it gets in your head. He's also from the late 80s.
And a child.
Yeah, when they were basically like, let's go to the store and get some stuff to feed our face.
Well, this is when he was going by Lil Raimi.
Lil Raimi, that's right. Evil Dead, man, what a fucking classic. And what an amazing name, first of all, for a horror movie.
Oh yeah, it's The Evil Dead. It's not you're not F you George Romero. This isn't just The Dead. This is or Jerry Garcia. It's not just The Dead. It's
I like
evil.
that you're implying that George Romero released a movie just called The Dead.
Well, any of his dead movies or any of those dead heads who follow that gross stinky band around. Well, they're mostly dead in IRL. Wow.
You buckle in for a lot of dead jokes in this episode.
Stop taking my bucks.
Stop taking my bucks. I'm trying to eat my soup. My dead soup.
My dead soup, which everyone knows is tomato.
It's better than eating live soup.
I don't know. Sometimes.
That's like a Ghostbusters thing. Yeah.
So The Evil Dead by Sam Raimi. We're not adults, guys. Okay, stop yelling at us.
Hey, I don't know if you guys know this. It's a comedy podcast, so why don't you calm down a little bit, you fucking silly goose?
Stop yelling at us through your radios and throwing it on the ground and kicking it in the gutter. You need that. Your parents bought that for you.
Wait, parents are buying people radios? Also, this is on the radio?
Yes, we're on the radio.
That's right, KLMV.
This, like, I know you're in traffic jam right now. It's 8:05, and you should have been there at work at 8. But hey, why are you at the beginning of the show if you're late for work? But we appreciate it. So, The Evil Dead, can we talk about this movie?
Yes, I'm sorry. Enough distractions.
This show. This is a great entry level into Evil Dead / Army of Darkness.
Well, good, because it's the first one, so I'm glad that it's entry level.
Evil Dead is a great launching pad for what this series became.
Sure.
Because it's got like a lot of experimental elements in it. Like the first act plays as a classic Cabin in the Woods movie, which I feel this movie probably invented.
Yeah, I mean, I think that...
Not literally, but the genre to be.
Yeah, sure. So we've seen horror franchises have, taking place in the woods and, in camping, and specifically Friday the 13th and things like that. But this format of 4 friends or 5 I don't remember. A group of friends.
It was 2 couples and a sister.
Oh, that's right, because I always remember being like, oh, there's 2 couples, and then who's that other one?
Who's the fifth wheel?
Because obviously this is a hookup trip, right? Like when you're these kids are like 20 years old or something, they're not going to the cabin not to knock boots, you know what I'm saying? They're going there to scoot it.
Well, they're knocking roots because they're in the sticks.
Oh, because there's a tree violation scene.
Oh, there's a tree violation scene.
Yeah, that's
guys.
knocking roots right there.
Yeah, you know what? Let's get into that. You mentioned it. You just popped my root cherry as I'm having my root berry. It's sarsaparilla. Now, so I did not like this as a kid, and and it's weird to say, like, oh yeah, when I was a little dirty orphan serving bucks.
So wait, you were serving spoons?
No, wait, what were we talking? Oh no, serving fuzzy
children.
Fuzzy children. When I was a little young child, serving fuzzy children.
Please, I'd like you to have some more.
Yeah, I watched this movie, and the most disturbing thing to me was the tree violation. Because it's,
y'all know what we're saying.
As a kid, it's just like, you don't know what sex is because you've not had it yet. And you're just like, what is this? What is happening? Like, this feels weird. Like when you're going through that process of, this feels weird. And
this is making my pants tight.
Yours too? Yeah. This is making my Scooby-Doo pajamas tight.
As Jono scoots his crotch forward so I can't see his pants.
And I mean now. I wear those now. Back then, I did not wear those at all. I didn't wear anything. I was poor.
You just were naked all the time?
Not all the time. Sometimes I went to school.
Only when I was serving fuzzy children. It helped with tips.
It did. It really did. It goes a long way. I need money for bucks.
As we said, Sam Raimi till this day keeps taking your bucks, i.e. spoons. Pay attention, everyone.
He comes over.
We're already off the rails.
He probably sees me more than Bruce Campbell. And I was born after they made this movie.
Oh, wow. Wait,
true.
Bruce Campbell's soup? Sam Raimi stealing all your bucks, i.e. spoons?
For Campbell's soup.
Eat Campbell's soup?
Oh, my God. To help Bruce Campbell and his Campbell Soup Company.
Damn. This conspiracy goes deeper than I thought.
It really does. It makes sense that he would come up with chicken noodle soup, though, because he had a legendary noodle himself.
And he was a chicken in this movie.
He was, yes. Oh, yeah, that's another interesting point. Thank you, Conrad, for
You're welcome.
being back on point. Bruce, if you're looking for classic, if you started with Army of Darkness, which I feel a lot of people did because it was a bigger movie.
Sure.
I think it hit cable a little easier. Than
also came out in '90s. I feel like
a
lot of folks in our demographic, that's when they got into that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and So if you started Army of Darkness and watched The Evil Dead, you will be surprised to see that, oh God, what is happening right here? Why is, it was my experience when I saw Blade Runner for the first time after being in love with Indiana Jones and seeing Harrison Ford just get the shit beat out of him over and over and just go, God, this movie sucks. Why is he not a badass? It's like that here. He just, in fact, Scott, the other guy, was more heroic at the, until he got killed.
Yeah, actually, that guy, what is his name? Scott or something? Yeah.
I just said
I know, and I just watched this.
You remembered Fuzzy Children, but you forgot what I just
I think
said.
you can see where my priorities are.
I love those prepubescent children.
Well, they're serving me drinks. So,
that makes it okay.
He has a great line in this movie, and it's not just the line, it's the way it's delivered.
Yeah.
Where I don't remember what's happening. They're probably reading the Sumerian text or playing it or something. He says, "It means time to party down." And when he laughs, his whole jaw moves. And I remember when I rewatched this, obviously I've seen this a bunch of times, but it's been a while and I forgot. I always think it's funny when people laugh and their whole jaw moves and they're like, ha 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 ha. And I was like, oh, he's an Evil Dead already. Look at the weird fucking way he's laughing. They haven't even played the tape that makes the Evil Dead be alive again.
Another one of those Evil Deads. Come get your Evil Deads.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Now, I also want to point out, these kids, I say kids, they're kids to me now.
Well, they were kids back then, too, because kids back then looked older.
Oh, right, because of having to serve all those fuzzy children to the grizzled bar regulars blowing cigar pipe smoke in their face.
Yeah, they were hard.
That's right. That's how hardcore it was. People were smoking cigars out of a pipe.
Yeah. You see these, 15-year-olds, and they're dressed in their dad's suit, and they've already got war medals.
Well, yeah, actually, their dad was a mobster. He got shot.
Oh, yeah. Well, so, that was the war on thugs.
I was so hoping you were going to say.
And then when they made a band on soda, there was the war on suds.
Oh, my God. And like we said earlier, though, the kids usually show up naked because that's when there was a war on duds. Meaning clothes. For you young kids.
Yeah, for those of
used
you
to call clothes duds.
Would you take for granted the duds that you sport now?
Right. All you kids with your Air Jordans.
Oh, yeah. Pump them up.
These kids were just wearing Air. Literally. No, he's wear it up, on and on. Yeah. But I love that this group they really were doing what I would do now, camping with a couple.
You camp?
No, of course not. I'm not poor. No, they.
I can tell by your clothes that you're wearing.
No, they are sitting around drinking wine and
having
brandy
salad
probably and having salad, and I'm like, that seems like a very responsible evening for a bunch of teens. They're not shooting cocaine or drinking heroin or putting brandy in a syringe or whatever.
Sure?
They're being very responsible.
Yeah, not smoking champagne.
That's right. That's a very good way to gross out your champagne. Make it real gross. Oh no! What happens? They find a scary tape and they play it.
Yeah, it's a Cannibal Corpse. The album.
The album Cannibal Corpse by Frank Sinatra.
That's where they got the name. Oh, man, I love when Frank Sinatra's released that album, man. Let's name our band that.
This song is called I Like to Rub Your Dead Body All Over My Hard Dick. My name's Frank Sinatra. It was his later years.
His later drunker years. Yeah. So, no, yeah, they find a scary tape and they find a scary book. and then they scare Ree out of there. No, they don't. Only one of them who, it's the sister, right? I don't remember which one.
I don't know,
Or
but
it's Scott's
she's of
girl.
no use to anyone anymore because she gets tree violated.
She gets tree violated, and she comes back to the cabin, and instead of doing what anybody else would do, they would say, oh, this happened, let's get out of here. She's more about, hey, you know what? I feel threatened. I need to get out of here. And that's fine. She was just violated by a plant.
And then later in the movie, she's like, that tree did make me feel things that I have never... And it's like, that's Stockholm Syndrome. You're siding with your captor. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know in her later years, she became like a wilderness preserver.
An arborist.
Yeah, so she's like, oh, get me out of here. And then Ash says, he like kind of flippantly is like, all right, fine. If you want to go stay in a hotel... I'll take you there out of this gross abandoned...
Yeah, I would have been like, I said we should have stayed in a hotel like the whole time. I didn't want to come to this disgusting roach trap anyway.
Yeah. So they drive to the end of the road because Boys to Men.
Boys to Men, thank you. Yeah.
But it's not just the end of the road, it's the claw of the road.
Oh my God. Wait, was Boys to Men End of the Road about the song? They said it's unnatural. You belong to me. I belong to you. Oh my God, it's the Deadites.
Oh my God, it's Stockholm
them.
Syndrome.
Oh my God.
It's a song about the tree.
It's the tree violator.
And when they find that there's no more road, they go back to the home for fuzzy children. And they, they say, hey, all right, you know what? It's no big deal. Let's just hang out. And then that's when the Evil Dead happens. I know you've all been waiting for it.
Oh, I know, because, listen, if you haven't seen this fucking movie, I don't know what to tell you. It's like 50 years old.
It came out in the
1960s. Oh my God, 70s? Oh my God, you're right. 50 years ago was in the 1960s. Oh my God, I'm just going to kill myself now.
Not like they did. Well,
right.
No, none of that. But like, you had a lot of self-harm.
They took the long way of killing themselves, which was
by
to
killing
let the
each other.
Deadites make them kill each other. Yeah. No, when they start getting taken over by scary folks.
Yeah,
it's very, very good.
No, yeah. And so me and Conrad, we talk about the shit we're going to talk about before we talk about it.
That's right.
As a preamble, and which causes me to forget if we've already talked about it. Now, what I have not forgotten...
Go right ahead. What you've not forgotten, what you have forgotten would fill a library. So, whenever you're ready.
Which library?
The Alexandria one that burned down. It's all gone.
It's called the internet. That has everything. No. The first third of the movie kind of it just goes by like who cares. But then the movie's only 85 minutes long.
Yeah.
But the once the action starts kicking in, it just the pacing is just so off.
It's very strange, the pacing, yeah.
Because it just feels long. And I think part of that now that I'm coming out of it is, it feels long because there's not there's no plot. It's just these kids come to a place and then they all get killed. And unlike something like Friday the 13th, there's no twists and turns.
Okay, I guess there is a twist in it, but
well, I mean, because
yes, it is a very deep and textured film that we like to call Friday the 13th.
Yeah, the AFI 100 movies you have to see.
It may as well have been penned by the Bard himself, or A24.
Yeah, or a 24 Bards.
Or a 24 Bard.
No, it just feels so long, and there's a lot of don't get me wrong, there's some amazing I'm not gonna say okay, well, there is some amazing makeup and brilliant effects.
Sure, all
but there's
practical.
also but
or
there's
practically all practical.
Practically. But there are a lot of bad makeup. like when Laughing Girl is what I'm calling her, with her dolly 5-year-old with mommy's lipstick made up. So, because she even has like the eyelash makeup on her eyes.
So let's talk about her real quick, because I know to what you're about to refer, but I just want to say
her up.
This he only does it because he loves me. No, she
truly,
when she turns into Living Dead Girl, another Rob Zombie reference, she is like trying to predict cards that the other chick is holding up, or her friend is. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And her friend keeps like saying the wrong cards, and the girl holding up the cards is
because she's
pretending she's right.
Because she's like 5 of diamonds, jack of clubs, draw 4,
reverse, skip, uno, skip. And she's getting them wrong, and her friend's like, "Oh my God, you're so great," because lift up other women, got it. But scary mama's lipstick face girl on the other side of the room, your first indication that something's not quite right here, except for the tree violation. She starts saying like 5 of spades, ace of diamonds, joker, instruction card that comes with the deck or whatever.
How to win at 5-stud poker.
And she's getting it right, and you're like, oh, that's strange. Also, she sounds like two people saying it at once.
Yeah.
She sounds like Linda Blair. What's happening?
Not the actor. Oh, no, wait, yes, the actor. Because she smokes a lot.
I was like, is there a character named Linda Blair?
Yeah, the character of Linda Blair.
Linda Blair as Linda Blair.
From The Exorcisist.
Yeah, available now on Peloton. Only $450 a month.
Yeah, so she becomes freaky, and she's all, hey, I'm gonna kill you, I'm a ghost or whatever.
Hey, just kidding, I'm not your friend. Surprise.
Surprise the whole time. And oh God, and then there's the pencil to the ankle. Ooh,
right.
Boy.
Ooh, she gets stabbed right in the ankle with a pencil, and it is gross.
And then she like screams a horrible scream, and then not a nice scream, by the way.
Why was there never a horror version of Dream a Little Dream called Scream a Little Scream?
I think there is a movie called Scream a Little Scream.
Oh my God. All right. Well, we're watching it immediately.
Yes. And we advise you guys to watch it and let us know how you feel.
If it exists. We still have to look it up.
Yeah, we do. I know there's a Blackula or Scream Blackula Scream.
Wow, okay. I don't know what that's.
No, there's a blaxploitation horror. It's Blackula, and then the sequel, Scream Blackula Scream.
Oh my God, amazing. Amazing.
So anyway, there are no Blackulas in this, though.
Yeah, do that in February.
But there is black blood, which they
also white blood. See, it's everyone.
Oh no, it's not white blood. It's just the Malox that's coming up because
that's
the
right.
evil.
Yeah, evils are made up of Malox.
Yeah. So they all end up going crazy.
As you might expect.
And there's evil everywhere.
In Jono, I believe you were about to allude to sloppy makeup, silly girl.
Oh, yes.
When they shove her in the basement and lock the door, but lock it just enough so that she can come up a little bit so she can pop up like in a
little whack-a-mole.
Yeah, like in a carnival haunted house when something pops up to go like, bleh!
Yeah, it's a whack-a-dead, Because it is...
It's so bad.
You just have to watch it. And it's not even that it clearly looks like a bad puppet job, but the makeup or the design of the puppet face does not match at all what we just saw seconds ago of the person being thrown in there.
It's as if, like, it is basically like it went from Kermit the Frog to the Toxic Avenger. It's like completely not the same at all. It really was that drastic. I mean, it was like you put a regular person there, and then it was like a plastic skeleton from the dollar store.
Yeah, the one that pops up and goes, come with me to the grave.
You should watch our reels on Instagram if you don't know that one.
And then it turns out, Bruce Campbell is the de facto hero because everybody dies.
Soup gives him power.
Yeah, and he kills he ends up having to I have no choice. I have to kill my girlfriend and kill everybody, kill my friends. And then you're subjected to a 10-minute death scene by the Deadite people that are left alive. And don't get me wrong, this is the experimental part of the experimental movie because they use kind of like every trick in the book. They use stop motion. There's some composite shots to basically show, oh, look at these gross dead people and they're melting. Like, they fall to the ground and they melt and you see the bones melting, and then they melt into cream corn, and then they melt into like powdered jello, and then they melt into like air. Like, there's just so much melting and dissolving.
Yeah, like what? Are we fucking cooking a fancy dish at the French Laundry right now? Like, why are we going through like, and French this is your asparagus foam, and here is your meatloaf powder, and
here's your,
I don't know.
Here's your escargot. Oh, there escar went. And all of that trickery just to be like, oh, Bruce Campbell goes outside and then the Evil Dead gets him. Whoops. Now, you can't have an Evil Dead without an Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. And that's why we're going to be talking about
Evil Dead 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah, you remember when the Evil Dead was like, oh, where's the hotel?
And the Deadites are like, Kevin!
Deaden! But no, but Evil Dead 2 almost said Lost in New York again. Evil Dead 2 Dead in New York picks up where the last Evil Dead dropped us off.
Or did it? It kind of
did it.
Interestingly has the first 6 minutes of it are a shortened remake.
It's a short, yeah. Now, from what I understand, Sam Raimi,
that's right.
He and he's even jokingly has said, "Oh, there must be a fan edit where you can put all three movies together, but you edit out all the recaps, and they will seamlessly go into each other." And I believe that, and I believe that 2 was intentionally supposed to start from the last scene in 1, where the Evil Dead picks up, goes through the door, zooms into his mouth,
knocks on it, and it's like, hey, is your refrigerator running? Oh, wait, I'm supposed to call you and say that.
No, he knocks his candygram. I've got this box of Deadites.
Damn it, I gotta stop saying that. I mean chocolates.
Cherry dead jewels. Wait, damn it. That's not a thing.
Cherry corpsules was not.
God damn it. Hey, I'm doing my best. Okay, I'm trying to talk about my favorite movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, guys. So I
also have Almond Joys. They taste like a dead body. It's like eating a mummy's dick.
It would be almost Joy's. Saying, I'm back on, baby.
There we go.
Seriously, this movie sucks.
Life out of the characters.
No, as in this movie sucks. My joy. No, I mean my bad parts. Wait, no.
Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. There's no the.
No, there's no the. They kicked the, they added a 2, and everything's boogaloo.
They sat in the meeting with Jerry Bruckheimer, and he was like, we got to streamline this puppy.
Yeah, there's too many words in this that they got to get rid of one of those does.
I would just like to point out that, like, when I was a kid and I saw this movie in Blockbuster, you heard me. In Blockbuster.
The last Blockbuster.
It was probably the first one, judging by the people that worked there. The cover has a skull with full eyes in it, giving you side eye like, bitch, this movie's about to be scary. And I always thought it looked scary. There's no skeleton side eye in the movie.
No. This is a classic, what the cover
bait and switch.
It does not, no promises. False advertising. It's like when you get one of those Echo Bridge movies or Mill Creek, like reskins of like those really bad movies because this is a real thing. So some people know this, where a studio will buy like 20 really shitty Neil Breen type movies, and they'll just like pay $100 for someone to create a poster with a different actor on the cover or a whole different thing, and it looks like it's Blade, or it looks like it's, where the fern grows.
Where the red fern grows?
No, where the fern grows. It's a asylum movie.
It's just called There's a Plant Growing.
There's a plant growing.
And your dog is dead.
And maybe a guy from Dave Matthews is in it. Yeah, it's the sound engineer.
Yeah, and not even the good one, the one they fired.
It's the one they fired in 91.
But Evil Dead 2, it picks up where the last one left off.
Uh-huh. The zoom in into the mouth.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Ash is alone in the scary cabin. Oh, that's scary already.
And I think it's funny that they wanted a sequel that picked up right from the last movie, but it's daytime. It's daybreak at the end of the first one. And so they thought, how can we get it back to night for the sequel? Oh, I know. We'll just throw the main character into a tree and he'll just black out until it's nighttime again.
Classic.
Yeah. It's like Friday the 13th Part 2. Why is it just nighttime again? But it's because nighttime is scary. Everyone knows that, except for Ari Aster when he made Midsommar. Now...
Yep, that's all true.
So he wakes up in a puddle of his own goo, a.k.a. rainwater. It did not rain, but there's just water. There's a puddle. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's stagnant standing water. It's basically like a mosquito breeding ground. That's why this movie's scary.
So you're saying this is all a hallucination. It's a Jacob's Ladder situation. Where he's still just by the tree.
Right. His face just looks like a Mylar balloon that he's asleep. And yes, I mean shiny and silver.
Yeah, not a good one that says happy birthday. One that says
plain.
One that says I'm sorry for your loss. So he wakes up and is and I love this about Sam Raimi is that particularly in these movies, the exaggeration of things and versus the reality. Mm-hmm. Now, he has thrown at least a football field or two away from the cabin, but when he wakes up, it's like right there.
Well, listen, the Deadites aren't dumbites, okay? They're like, listen, when we start scaring this guy, I don't want to have to wait for him to find the cabin and walk all the way back. Who has time for that? We're only eternal beings.
Right.
So they drug him a little closer, and then they're like, okay, now we can let him find the Necronoma guy, and he'll find it. We have to help him find it, because we don't want to be, not there or something.
No, yeah, he doesn't want to wake up and
their motivations are very unclear, okay?
Realize that the Necronomicon is Necronomicon.
Yeah.
So he wakes up and he sees an animatronic puppet superimposed over the cabin that goes, "Join us." His sights. And then he goes, fuck that. He jumps in his car, which is the smartest thing to do in a movie.
And rare for a character to be like, I'm going to do the reasonable thing, and I'm going to GTFO H.
Yeah, I'd like to think that in the original script, it said, Ash sees the scary face that says, "Join us," and he runs into the cabin, runs upstairs, and goes into a closet. It's like, no, he got into his car and got out of there.
He finds the nearest Ouija board.
It says, maybe this will bring back my dead sister. No, he drives and finds, end of the road, as in end of the claw. Is that what I said last time? Okay, anyway. With Boyz II Men. Remember that joke that was just like 10 minutes ago, guys? Okay. It's been actually 3 days coming back to this podcast.
Yeah, so Ash is like, I can't leave, so I might as well fucking chill, I guess. I mean, shit.
Well, he tries to chill, but then he ends up getting grilled.
Oh!
we were in the multiverse, on different planes.
Yeah, he goes back to the Kill Grill.
Yeah, so he's driving away, and the Evil Dead makes him crash his car. He flies out. And it's funny that the Evil Dead was just behind the car as it was barreling down the road at 60 miles an hour. And then when he starts running on foot, it's like, oh, well, I guess we slowed down and we're just barely behind you. Why couldn't they
I'm
go
sorry,
fast?
Jono. Do you not get tired after running for a while?
Oh,
you know
what? That's
they
true.
are geriatric spirits. They've been around since medieval times, as we learn in the following program. But they were around during the Sumerian times.
Oh, yeah.
There's an ancient Sumerian text.
When everyone was a skeleton back then.
Everyone was a skeleton.
And they had osteoporosis.
That's right. They weren't drinking milk. Big milk hadn't existed yet.
Well, it didn't exist. Well, milk in general didn't exist back then.
It did.
No, it didn't.
You think cows didn't exist?
You couldn't just grab a jug of Borden's.
No, you grabbed a jug of cow and squeezed it into your mouth because you didn't have buckets yet.
Well, cows didn't exist in Sumerian times. Everyone knows that.
Well, they had milk from people and goats. Are you about to tell me that goats weren't around?
I'm going to tell you right now that people weren't around.
Oh, yeah, just skeletons.
Ancient aliens existed, okay? And they
had milk. It just looked like hair gel.
That came from a different part of the body
it was
that needed to be
viscous.
Yanked a little more.
It was, yeah. Hey, isn't it? I don't know. I'm just curious. You remember in hair gel how it always had those little bubbles? What is that?
Are you talking
it's
about
not like it looked like a thick Sprite.
About like LA looks,
yeah.
Or whatever the pink or green.
It's like you put a Sprite in the freezer.
Yeah, there were little air bubbles in it. Well, because it was just so thick. And also that was
but what are those bubbles?
Well, that was big hair gel, like saving cost.
Is that how you got lift in your hair? Was the bubbles? They'd pop and it'd pop your pump?
No, the
Pop your pump. That was their logo or their slogan.
Pop your pump.
Pop your pump. I would like to know what kind of crazy hairstyles the Deadites had. When
they didn't.
Were people.
They were mostly bald
didn't.
or dead. They didn't.
So they chase Ash back into the house, and he's like, "Well, fuck."
Yeah, he nails up his whole area, and then discovers, oh shit, his ex. They broke up in a pretty bad way, and
he broke her up. That's for sure. Broke her body up.
Yeah. You could say he chopped her head off.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, the puns never stop with me. And this is funny too because his girlfriend is legendarily brunette.
Hot. Oh yeah.
Because they foretold, she is super brunette. But who is this?
One day a woman will come, her hair the color of I don't know, the sticks that are in the fire.
What kind of? But
we only have 5 things in medieval times: fire, sticks,
milk.
People, milk, and war.
And LA looks. Get your copy today. It was a book and a hair gel. You read the back of the label. He told you little facts. When you took a Snapple, or not a Snapple, what is that where you popped open the lid and it would say some dumb fact like
Snapple.
Peanuts are not actually or something.
That's that's Snapple.
Fuck that. But what is not,
weird beers.
But what is an actual fact is this Deadite girlfriend is blonde, not brunette.
Even though the girl alive was brunette,
was super brunette.
She now becomes blonde.
She becomes a blonde ballerina who, after an hour of being buried, is completely decomposed.
Well, listen,
that could be Deadite.
That's Deadite, yeah,
that could be Deadite technology. Yeah. So she comes and she spooks him good. And she, wrecks up the place.
And he's like, ooh, can't bounce a quarter off that ass anymore.
No, it goes right in.
That's right.
It goes right through. And then he and I will say I loved a lot of the genuine spooks in this movie. And this is one of them because he's going nuts, and then it zooms out and he's just in the rocking chair going crazy. Yeah, that all didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or did it?
Yeah, and so I agree. And this is one of my favorite things about this movie is that even though it's like over the top and it's silly to a degree, that is a great device when used properly. Like the character thinking they're crazy. It doesn't last super long in this movie.
Yeah.
But it is it adds a little depth to Ash versus just being a like shoot 'em up, bang 'em up, I'm gonna fuck your daughter.
Which he does.
Listen, that's Cabin Boy. I'm just saying, Cabin Boys are like, I'm going to take your daughter to the cabin, and we're not exactly going to be drinking LA Look milk.
Don't speak ill of Cabin Boy starring Chris Elliott, okay? That is one of my faves.
I always get it mixed up with Almost Heroes, which is terrible.
That is terrible, yes. Please do not desecrate the good
Almost
name
Cabin Boys.
of Cabin Boy. The movie that Tim Burton was going to direct and then pulled a switcheroo.
So we're coming up to one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, well, yeah, because speaking to the insanity that he goes through, and I love that each of these movies are super different. You know, the first one being close to like a slasher monster movie, and this one being the first half anyway, being just whoa, like it's an insanity, bottled up kind of scenario, and he really is going crazy. And so it does lead to the laughing scene, which, oh boy,
this is legit my favorite scene in the entire franchise.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that. And I've read the comics and seen the show and seen and just like I've devoured everything Army of Darkness. And yes, this scene is just, you could probably pull it up on YouTube. Watch the movie if you haven't, but like this scene alone is just amazing.
The furniture is laughing. The lamp is like, you stupid asshole or whatever.
No, the lamp is going.
Yeah, that's right. It basically becomes like Pee-wee's Playhouse in there.
Yeah.
The deer head. This is so I had forgotten because it's been a while since I watched these movies. When I was watching the first one again, I was waiting for this scene in that, forgetting that it was in the second one because they're so similar in a lot of ways at first. But the deer head on the wall. Oh, also because in the first one, the camera swipes to it almost like, oh, this is going to be important later, and then not in the first one. But in the second one, the deer laughing and being like a deadite deer, a deerite.
Yeah, and the sound of its cracking neck.
So creepy.
In fact, I'm just going to say,
that's scary shit.
Like, I love sound design in movies in general, but like the sound in these movies, particularly in 2 and even in Army of Darkness, the sound design is just so good. Like all the cracking sounds and when the rocking chair, when he has the shotgun and it like twists and turns in a stop motion kind of way, it's just got that it's really neat. It's really cool.
It's like when you crumple up a water bottle while you're breaking the neck of a hooker.
Well, I especially like that sound because then I'm like,
wait, which one?
The cracking of the hooker and the bottle, because in both scenarios, I'm not recycling.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think that was misogynistic? Guess what? The hooker was a man. So why don't you check your privilege or something?
Yeah, it was a male hooker. And
he actually was paying me to do that to him.
And here's a twist for you, M. Night Shyamalan. I was that hooker.
And I'm back for Deadite revenge.
That's right. It's a hook, line, and sinker situation.
And now Evil Dead 2 is a classic. The parents who own the house have shown back up, except that the parents are dead, but their daughter and her boyfriend show up.
Yeah.
Classic.
They're
like, well, let's see what's going on in my parents' cabin. Hope there's not a Weekend at Bernie's situation happening here.
You know what? In retrospect, and even at the time when I was a young person watching this, I remember that being kind of jarring at first.
Yeah.
Because you spend like a good, 20 minutes with just Bruce Campbell, and it just cuts just like to an airplane And you're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, what?" And then this fancy lady, like she couldn't be more stereotypical of like, "Oh, I come from a wealthy family. Look at how great my sweater looks over my shoulders." and she comes out and she's like, yes. I'm Laura Croft, basically. I just came from exploring, and I've got these
She's stomping
pages.
on the pores that are around the plane. She's like, get away!
Oh yeah,
from me,
all those plants, those pores. Is that what you're saying? All right. She's coming from an airplane, and she's great, and her boyfriend has got a mullet or something, and he's great.
Yeah, he's from Teen Wolf.
He's from Teen Wolf. For some reason, you need to.
Yeah, that's right. Hey. He played quarterback.
No, linebacker.
Oh,
very
yes,
important.
Sorry,
We're gonna get
he
so
was
many
less
messages.
important. Also, was it Teen Wolf about the basketball player?
No, yeah, he was backing the line, like literally. So, and then it cuts back to Ash. And he's still going crazy. How crazy? I don't know. He just chopped up his girlfriend, and he goes to the head lands in his lap, bites him. He's gonna get infected.
Idle hands.
Although the rules of the Evil Dead, it's like who cares?
Folks,
because
we can't claim to understand the depth of the rules.
Well, we can, but we don't
Deadites.
adhere to it. Because, it's like, if they attack you or bite you or whatever, like zombie rules, right? It bites his hand, so his hand gets possessed.
But not the rest of his body.
But when fancy boyfriend gets possessed, he wasn't bitten or anything. He just got shoved away, and then suddenly he's possessed.
Well, and in the first movie, they just were like, "You're possessed now."
Yeah, it's like a little kid playing dodgeball, picking his team. It's like, you're done. You're done,
Ash
son.
got picked last somehow.
Yeah, he got picked last. Well, his hand got picked. He got a good hand. He had a hand.
Dead
in
man's hand.
It was literally
2 aces, 2 8s, baby.
So it gets bit. And there's a nice little stop motion of someone drawing a Sharpie on his hand.
Yeah. To make, look at all of his veins. There was way more than the veins you have in your hand. You don't have 8,000 veins in your hand.
You could, if you're a Deadite, because you're the opposite of dead life. He saws up his girlfriend with the chainsaw. And then his hand gets possessed, and then he saws off his hand. And you know what? It's a farewell to arms, because he places that book on top of the... when he traps his hand and puts those stack of books on top, the top book says farewell to arms. It's awesome.
That is a really great great reference.
But apparently those books, he should have put War and Peace on top, because those books weren't heavy enough to contain it, because the hand got out.
Should have put Slapstick by Kurt Vonnegut, because there's so many Three Stooges-esque jokes in these movies.
No, the hand has read that, because it goes through these Three Stooges antics by like flipping them off and going through the walls.
And it goes on in later years. This is actually a prequel to the Addams Family.
Oh yeah, this is
his hand becomes Thing.
It's the origin story of Thing.
Evil Dead 2, Thing's Awakening.
And then when Annie and the gang show up at the old cabin in the woods, Ash is like, "Holy shit, you guys are here to save me." And they're like, "Get in the cellar, you bastard."
Yeah. You killed someone, probably, it looks like.
And then once he's in there, he's just like, "Oh, this is pretty cool, actually." They start listening to the tape recorder, because that's what you do.
Because the plot has to move forward.
The plot has to move forward, and we need that exposition.
And
We're
that's
getting
the
it by...
MacGuffin? Not really. But...
No. But the grandfather on the tape is saying, "Oh, my God, I should not have let the dead inside."
Oh, my God, Becky. Look at her spirit. It is so dead.
And it crawled up inside the guts of my lady, your grandma, Annie. He says that in the tape. And then he's like, "Oh, my God, I had to put her down like the dog she is." And she's buried in the fruit cellar. And who should come up? That's right. Ted Raimi, or I'm sorry, Raimi,
Thank you.
who is the brother of Sam. in a old lady costume.
The brother
ready to
of Sam, a way lesser known serial killer.
And I love the line, someone's in my fruit cellar.
Which is a euphemism also.
And then Ash is like, come on, guys, seriously. All right, it's so dark in here. I'm so scared. Let me out. Also, there's a demon. And then they let him out, and then the granny turns into a monkey face, or not even. Not a monkey
right,
face,
because they hear on the tape where the professor's like, "Oh, and
what's a banana?
I had to bury my scary wife.
Yeah.
Look behind you." They turn around and there's scary wife.
They look behind you and there's a mirror. It's like, you are the scary wife.
That's the twist. There's your twist, M. Night Shyam.
There's a scary wife in all of us. And whether you're old or a young. So they escaped the old lady by letting him out. And then Ash is just like, hey, guys, seriously, I know what I'm doing, so
time to read this scary book.
Guy, stop being a redneck with your fake Billy Bob teeth. And Annie, stop being an uptight prissy priss, okay? Because we got this. See what he did there? He did it. There's some good Deadite stuff with Fancy Boyfriend. He gets chopped up, and so we've seen pink blood, red blood, black blood,
White
and now
blood.
the debut of green blood.
That's right.
With Fancy Boyfriend being hacked.
Now with green blood.
Now it's greenier.
I can taste the chlorophyll.
The Deadites really are greener on the other side of the law. No. Now, Billy Bob, Bobby Joe decides, oh my God, this is so scary. I'm going to go to the safest place, which is the woods. And she bolts out, and Billy Bob holds our two heroes at gunpoint and says, hey, we're also going to go in the scary woods because that's my girlfriend or my sister or something.
Well, Billy Bob, probably both, judging by the overalls.
Yeah. And what happens? He gets himself killed by Annie.
That's right. You know what? It's because he was judging his own book by his cover. He was like, I'm wearing overalls, so I talk like this, and incest, not okay.
Not okay.
Not okay.
So I should be killed in a heroic way.
That'll teach me.
That'll teach me. I did think it's strange that after she stabs him and pulls him in, she pulls him specifically right by the cellar door so he could get gobbled up by Granny.
That's right.
It's the old Granny gobble. And then Ash becomes evil Ash, not the evil Ash, but he becomes a Deadite temporarily. And then, but I love the moment where he becomes okay by seeing the looking glass necklace that he gives to Linda. And you know why he gave it to her? Because he's like, you know what? I know you like Columbo. You think yourself of a sleuth. This is all cut out of the movie.
When he gave it to her in the first movie and then again in the second movie, I thought it was implied that it's like, hey, you know, you're always late when we have dates, so I'm assuming you can't fucking read when I send you messages.
Why would he give her a watch?
Well, because it was a long time ago. He was sending messages via carrier pigeon. Like, they're carrying scrolls. And he's like, meet me at the mall at 2 p.m. And she shows up at like 4.
Meet me at
and
the
he's
Sbarro.
like, I got to get you a necklace that's also a magnifying glass. I've already eaten 10 slices of pizza waiting on you.
That's sometimes sharp because when they go into hug, she goes, oh. Ow, this not sharp necklace just poked me.
Well, she also, because she keeps being there at the wrong time, sometimes he's not there and she gets harassed by vagrants.
Sure,
so
like trees.
So if she's attacked by bugs, magnifying glass kill them. If she's attacked by thugs, sharpifying glass. Glugs of blood coming out of them.
Glug.
Yeah.
And then she fills her flask because she knows the Deadites like it. You know, she feeds them like ducks.
Everyone's in on it except for Ash.
It's the circle of death.
So then he's like, I got to read this book. Can I borrow your magnifying glass?
No, all that to say, I like when he says, I'm all right. I'm all right.
I'm fine. Thanks for worrying.
Yeah, don't worry. I've just been going crazy. I mean, we didn't talk about the vortex or anything.
Jono, do you support the troops? Well, they better not be these troops, because this is an army of darkness. That's right. We're doing the third one.
Wait. Whoa, I had no idea. I think we mentioned it 7 times already, but I thought we were joking.
That's right. Army of the darkness. That's right. I believe in a thing called love, but a full army of it.
Or like the Bjork song, Army of Me, but Army of Meanness.
You know what? I would be more scared of an army of Bjork.
Oh, yeah, if you've seen those music videos.
Oh my gosh, that's a twisted mind right there.
It really is.
So Army of Darkness, this is the 3rd installation of the series of this.
Of this.
Well, because it's technically not Evil Dead, because rights, right?
That is rights. Because
they were dead to rights.
They were. Because Army of Darkness was distributed by Universal, and so they were like, get rid of this Evil Dead business, which is a shame because Sam Raimi had the perfect sequel title, which was Medieval Dead. Oh my God, that's amazing. But no, it's just Army of Darkness, which, I mean, yeah, the movie was dark. There were some day scenes, though.
Oh, we didn't even discuss with the lovely spectators. Evil Dead 2 ends with Ash chainsaw-handed, shotgun
wielding,
branded.
Oh, okay. I'm into that.
Flying into the sanded medieval times land.
Not the sand lot.
That's right. That's right. He was not fighting a scary dog or a blind man, James Earl Jones.
Why are you recapping this? The movie does it for us. Just like the 2 movies before it.
With different actors.
That's right. The first movie recapped itself. Remember in The Evil Dead when it said, hey,
previously on
what you're about to see is this.
Hey, you know what? I would just like to say, and I don't even care if you keep this in the episode or not, but I wanted to mention this.
Future Jono, cut it out. Yeah, Army of Darkness goes a completely different direction.
Fuck, dude. They go ham with the silliness in this.
Yes, they go all out with the comedy. And I mean, I cannot even brand it as a horror.
No.
If anything, I would call it a fantasy comedy.
Sure.
And if there is any kind of horror element in it, I would just chalk it up to fantasy, because there are a bunch of fantasy movies that have horror elements in it because it's a fantasy.
This is Evil Dead, but make it D&D.
Right. Yeah. D&D or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Neverending Story. All these fantasy films.
Folks, you heard it here first. This is the first time Dungeons and Dragons, Nightmare on Elm Street have been put into.
They're both fantasies. You never played the game, the RPG?
Friday the 13th.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah.
Where it's like, my character is a dream master, and then your character is the guy who dies. Roll the dice.
No, I played Freddy's Friends, and it's like an edutainment game. It's where like Freddy is going around trying to find his buddies. But he has to answer trivia questions about different countries.
Is it like Blue's Clues? Are my friends behind this bush? No.
Now go stay in school, kids, so you can help Freddy find his frenzies.
Find your own slice of life. But we're not talking about slices of life. We're talking about slices of Deadites.
That's right.
Literally.
Right. Yeah, Ash immediately gets thrown into a pit where they're keeping a pet Deadite.
Two of them. One of them is just
secret.
in the walls.
Yeah.
He's just like, they're like, hey, we have an agreement with this Deadite. Stay in the fucking walls unless this one dies. Okay, stay in the fucking walls. We will seep blood into it every now and then to keep you well nourished. He dispatches these Deadites, very different looking. And he Indiana Joneses himself out of there via belt. And when he gets out, he's mighty peeved at this town.
He's like, hey, you jabronis.
Did you just throw me in that little
I
pit?
don't take kindly
To pit throwing.
to pit. Let me tell you something. That was the pits.
And they're like, hey, pit happens.
No, this is great because they're like, hey, whoa, you beat a Deadites in it? Well, maybe you're the savior. His book's got a picture of you in it where it looks just like you.
No one can understand you.
I know. We can't understand them either.
Future Jono's like freaking out like, should I cut this? Should I cut this bit right
All right, I'll Americanize it.
Thank you.
They're like, oh, weirdly, you look just like this guy in this book, which we're also looking for.
Have you seen him?
We're looking for the book, which we know you from.
Which we do not keep here at all. Anyway.
Please help us.
Or go away.
Either way.
We don't know what's happening.
2 choices. 1, you save us. 2, you die.
Oh, look. It's
Choices.
a flying rat. So Ash decides, hey, you know what? I'm pretty cool right now. I'm going to stick around, eat some grapes, get a little bit of that fat of the land that everybody's talking about.
Eating an entire lamb shank.
Yeah.
With his
okay.
hands.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I could talk. Okay, the rest of the podcast is talking about this. So he.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'd love to talk about lamb
No,
shanks.
I am not that because this is a gross out thing, and I don't understand this. I could be alone in this.
I'm going to guess yes.
He's eating like 5 different things. So he takes a bite of a turkey leg. He takes a bite of a grapes.
Like a lamb leg.
He takes a bite of a fuzzy children. A fuzzy child.
And that's not even the gross part.
No, the gross part is him spitting out pieces of it when he tells Lady Gwendolyn, hey, blow. Because remember, he says, first you want to fight me, and now you want to kiss me, or whatever.
Yeah, and I actually, when he says blow, I was like, what? And I was like, oh, like blow the coop? Like, blow yourself on out of here, broad.
Well, there was
basically what he's saying.
Yeah, there was a time in our history when if you said, hey, blow, that meant go away.
That means you got one of 2 things.
Yeah. Both of them were equally treasured.
That's right. Either I get peace and quiet or I get a piece and then everyone's quiet.
That's why it was cut from the film when he said blow. She took out a mirror and then cleaned up her mouth a little bit.
No, not like that.
No, none of those.
I mean, blow the coop stand.
But
or
I
whatever.
mean, your hair is really pretty, though.
Yeah.
Her hair was great.
And personally, I like mixing sweet and salty. So I like popcorn and M&Ms at the same time, or Reese's Pieces and popcorn. And so, lamb shank and grape, that's...
No.
You're speaking my language.
So you're saying you would roast a lamb with grapes?
As the fuel source?
Yes, a grape-powered oven, which I have, actually. This is what Conrad's referencing. My not famous grape.
It's very expensive to operate.
It's very expensive and does not get hotter than a microwave.
Yeah, oh no, another Deadite.
Oh, yes, that's right.
She's like, hey, I don't like that you're having fun.
You thought I was an old lady.
You thought I was an old lady. Surprise, I'm an even older lady.
I've existed for 30 years.
Which in that time...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At that time was basically like saying I'm 800
You're
years old.
retired and on your deathbed. You've had.
Oh, you're 30. Oh, please, let me carry you back to bed, great grandmother.
Do you want all 17 of your children?
That's why they got married at like 6. They were, they were serving fuzzy children's when they were like in swaddling clothes.
Yeah. It's just like King Tut. He wasn't. He was like tootin', keep 'em coming
to the fuzzy children.
So Ash says, "Hey, she bitch," blows her away, and classic. It's like Western
with his handsomeness blows her away.
Oh yeah, he shoots
also
a wink.
A shotgun. Yeah,
shoots a wink and says, "Hey, come on over to this side of the pillow." Where you'll find me.
Come on over here, you ancient 22-year-old.
Let me show you how it's like, Grandma. He blasts her away with his boomstick, which, hey, I don't mean to be that actually nitpicker kind of guy, but he's got a shotgun that has maybe 2 shots in it.
Well, definitely reload. 2 because it's double-barreled. Yeah, so one shell in each.
Yeah. And how many times did he shoot? Like, I don't know, 100 times?
Yeah.
Without reloading.
It's classic.
Filmmaking,
honestly,
hobgoobery.
Okay, normally I would point something like that out critically, but in this movie, it does beg the question, is that a send-up of that, or is it a flaw?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, is this truly a Jacob's Ladder situation? Because every time he shoots her, there's no bullet holes, there's no blood.
That's true. Well, and you pointed out very astutely when we were chatting pre-pod that unlike the other 2 films, this follows like spaghetti Western rules, which is you get shot, you fly back, you backflip, there's no blood.
Well, because, you remember in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly when Clint Eastwood shot the guy and he did like a bunch of backflips and then did a somersault into a well. And then all the townspeople one at a time go, oh,
whoa. So they're like, Ash, we can get you back to your time, but come on, man. Bro.
You're out of time.
We're out of time. Is the license plate on the DeLorean that you flew in on. Well,
it's when Ian Abercrombie, the wizard.
The guy who played Mr. Pitt on Seinfeld.
That's right. Good eyes.
Ate his Snicker bar with a fork and knife.
Yes. But no, he grabs Ash by the lapels and says, "It's your kids, Ash. We gotta go back to the future."
And Ash is like, what, do they turn into assholes or something? Hey, let me tell you something, wizard guy. You can't put a pickle on a piece of bread and tell me it's raining. He was always throwing out like these one-liner like smarty pants. He was like,
give me some sugar.
Well, give me some sugar, lady, because this mouth is bitter. Or he would be like,
this cup is empty.
Yeah, or he'd be like, hey, Deadite.
Blow.
Please stop.
Hey, Deadite, you ever do anything dead right? Okay. With your life.
Hey, you ever read a book? Because here's my left hook. I just punch him with his... Was that his stump hand? No, that was his regular hand.
I love the physical work you're giving into this, as if the lovely spectators are going to go, no, why. Conrad, not that one.
Well, maybe if our lovely spectators make us create a Patreon.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you guys could create that for us. I would love it, because we have tons of extras.
That's
for
right.
You.
That's right.
We just don't know how to do it because we're so busy watching these movies over and over, which I actually was a little extra busy watching these movies because Army of Darkness has 4 cuts, and you better believe, I mean, I've seen all of them before, but to extra prepare for no reason.
4 cuts is like what you get when you got a really bad moil. I promise I'll get it right this time.
a little extra off the top.
That's why they called me Vienna sausage back in school.
I could see a Moyle related like rom-com where like
wait a minute, I'm sold.
Where he's just like nervous all the time, and he's like the romantic, and he sees the girl that he likes, he's like, and then he goes chop, and then the dad goes check please, and that's in the trailer. No, but there are 4 cuts to this movie. I'm
sorry, the name of that movie is Love Cut Short.
But there will only be 1 cut, and it's straight to Hallmark Channel. Starring Melissa Joan Hart.
As the Moyle. I'm sorry.
But, oh boy, you moidle me with that. So there are 4 cuts to Army of Darkness, and the story goes, I'll try to be brief, but I won't.
That might as well be the name of this podcast.
No, the name of the podcast is Film Fights, but really just fights. Like, no films at all are mentioned.
Also, we're not really fighting.
It's just assholes laughing nonstop. I can imagine people listening just like, oh my God, I don't get it. I don't have any friends. So when this movie came out, Sam Raimi. Raimi.
It rhymes with limey because he's British.
It's Raimi. Stick to the script.
Raimi. Oh my God, you're right.
For once. So the first cut, which is the director's cut, is a 96-minute. Do not rent this on Amazon. You will get the shitty theatrical 81-minute cut, although it has a better ending and a better line after Ash shoots Bad Ash, which I'm going to say right now. In the theatrical cut.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he shoots him in the face because he says, goody little two shoes. He says, good, bad, I'm the guy with the gun.
Great line.
Awesome. But in the director's cut, it's, I'm not that good. Great.
He doesn't say great. The great was Jono.
That was me saying, like, great job, Sam. Keep up the good work. When's that Spider-Man 4 coming out? Now,
hopefully never.
No, but so that was the original cut, and then they first did the international cut because sometimes that's easier to do, and it was an 88-minute cut. But then when it bounced back to say, hey, we're going to release it domestically, Universal thought, hey, we can make more money if it's a PG-13 movie. So we're not even going to collaborate with the filmmakers. We're going to dump this 88-minute cut to a third party and say, hey, cut it so that it's good.
Classic horror movie mistake.
Yeah. They cut it down to 81 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And guess what? Still rated R. And then they release it. So
congratulations.
And it's now, there's nothing wrong with the 81-minute cut because, again, like that line is great and the ending is better when he, because in that cut at the end when the wizard says, I'm going to send you back to your whatever, so you just have to say the words right. He goes back to the S-Mart, saves Lady Babe, and rest.
You're going to say he saves because he shopped smart at S-Mart.
No, he saves because he let Jesus into his heart. He has the power too. He's the one. That's it's a more fun ending. However, I do like the kind of dark ending of the original cut, which is, spoiler, you've been warned. He instead he takes a potion that's supposed to send him back to his original time, but he takes a little too much of that potion.
No, I've been there, sister.
I just wish if I took too much, I would wake up and the world has ended because that's what happens in the original cut.
Oh, yeah. So it is an allegory to alcoholism because you wake up and you feel like the world has ended.
Classic allegory.
But then you make yourself an omelet and you feel better. So
with sausage?
Bacon, it affects the part of your brain that is hurt by booze.
That's all fuzzy from all the children. And now the other two cuts of the The other two cuts of the film. Okay, so there's the international and then the director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the theatrical cut, which I've already mentioned. But then the fourth one.
That's one I rewatched.
Yes, that's the one that pretty much everyone knows. And believe me, I've owned this movie in every form over the years of my life. I had it on VHS, and then when it came out on DVD, I actually thought I was being super cool. This is before internet buying was so easy. I found a bootleg copy, which I thought was real, but it was just the bootleg cut released by Anchor Bay, and it was the this was not the director's cut. I think the bootleg copy is the international cut, which is 88 minutes. And then I got the director's cut on DVD, which is a 2-disc thing. And then I bought it again when they re-released it or whatever. And then I now have the awesome 3-disc Scream Factory Blu-ray, which has all 4 cuts. The fourth cut being the television version, which is basically identical to the international cut, but there's one scene taken away and then added footage to the windmill scene. It's so crazy and stupid.
So the TV version, instead of saying, "Hey, she bitch," he goes, "Hey, she lady."
Hey, she, madam.
Yeah, but be respectful.
Well, no, actually, it is she witch. She said,
right. Yeah, that makes the most sense. So I do want to at least touch on this windmill scene after Ash, he takes the chainsaw off his hand for some reason and builds himself a metal hand out of armor.
Not a lot of chainsaw action in this one. Very disappointing.
And all the posters and ads have him holding up the chainsaw arm, and he gets it put on in Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and coming to a theater near you.
Dead by Dawn, not the other Evil Dead 2. Dead by Shaun of the Dead.
So Ash runs to the windmill, and he's like, "I better hang out in this windmill. It's probably cool."
Well, he was escaping the Evil Dead.
Or so he thought, because then he got Gulliver's Travels by a bunch of little mini versions of himself for some reason, because that's right. In this movie, Evil Dead aren't just Deadite looking things. They can be whatever they want.
Yeah, there's no rules, okay? They can either possess you or make facsimiles of you.
Or then grow another version of you out of your shoulder.
Hey, that made sense. He swallowed a small version of himself, and then, of course, like in real life, became a twin that split off of him.
You know what? That is true. It's like that time I swallowed a watermelon seed, and you know the rest.
You
of the
became
story.
a watermelon.
I grew a watermelon out of my shoulder that became an evil version of me.
Oh, but that was a lot of fun when you went to carnivals and people tried to smash you Gallagher style, and you're like, "Whoa, that's me!"
Why do so many people carry around wooden Donkey Kong style mallets everywhere? It's crazy.
It has nothing to do with me giving them out for free every time we hang out.
Oh, well, good.
That's just charity work.
Charity, yeah. We provide hammers for the homeless is the name of our charity. Hey, listen, I know that not everyone can afford these expensive hammers. And sometimes a giant ape is throwing barrels at you and you need a hammer.
Hey, I got a price break,
Yeah, we originally called it Let's Get Hammered, but some of the homeless people that were alcoholics did not appreciate it.
Well, and then also we got a cease and desist from MC Hammer and his people.
It literally just said, "You can't not touch this."
Please, don't make me hurt you.
Stop. No more hammer time. Yeah,
or it's slammer time. No, but windmill. That's a good scene, and you see the difference between the theatrical cut and the director's cut, because in the theatrical, it's about half the length, and it's the people they got to cut the theatrical cut. Oh my God! It was like Freddy Krueger, but with both hands. It's just sloppy work, editing wise. And the director's cut, the editing is okay, but at least there's a through line there, and it's mostly seen in the windmill scene because it's just so jarring how it jumps from thing to thing, and it's
earlier when we were talking off pod, you mentioned the composites, which are so bad.
They're worse than like Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, which I'm so glad you bring up Jason and the Argonauts because in a few scenes later, after we get past like bad Ash splitting off of regular Ash, which was a fucking insane scene.
It is, but his little dance, his little
gear goody two shoes, which you told me an interesting fact about.
I did, yeah. I tell interesting facts sometimes, not just crazy ones.
I love it. That's it. You're not going to tell us what it is.
No, it's just for you and me,
okay.
babe. No. It's that because the commentary for these movies are actually pretty interesting because it's Bruce Campbell on all three, as well as Sam Raimi. Ramen. And just like it's clear these guys have known each other forever and they're super best friends, but they leak out some like really interesting facts, and one of them being when Bruce Campbell is doing doing that entire scene where he's saying you're good, but he's doing an impression of Sam because Sam is completely bonkers crazy when it comes to directing, specifically Bruce. Anyone else, he's just, we want to get this going here, and don't worry about Bruce.
Why do they talk like
whack
that?
him in the head. That's how he sounds.
You're being Sam Raimi.
I'm being Sam Raimi.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
sorry. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But he's like, Bruce, he's fine. He can take it. Just whack him real hard. Whack him real hard. Here, let me do it. I'll do it. And he will get in there and like mess with him. But as a sort of like inside revenge is like, this is what Sam is like. I'm goody little douche. But that's a lot of fun.
So then after we move on from there, and Ash is like, saying to Wizard Mr. Pitt, hey, get me back to the future.
Home.
I have to go back to the future.
Oh, yeah, that's the cut we saw, by the way. It literally, after the windmill scene, he's like, hey, the movie's over. It's time to send me back, champ.
He's like he's eating a craft services sandwich on white bread. He's like, I gotta go back to the future. I miss having sandwiches like this.
Yeah, well, Kraft sandwiches are great because it's just Kraft macaroni and cheese. That's it. It's in your hand. There's no bread.
Yeah, from the makers of hand lasagna comes Kraft macaroni and
Kraft sandwiches. Which is not a sandwich at all.
Yeah, and he's like, take me back to my time. And they're like, oh, we can get you back. And he's like, great. And they're like, we didn't know you were a bitch, though. We thought you'd like hang out and help us. It's cool. And he's like, ugh, fine. And he becomes the leader of a medieval army somehow. But this army is not just like none of them are classic Deadites like we've seen in the first two movies.
No.
They're a bunch of skeletons.
Some
like, like from the very classic old school movie that utilized stop motion animation, one of the most famous stop motion animation films of the early days, Jason and the Argonauts.
Right.
Where Jason Argonaut is fighting
Jason and his famous Argonauts.
Yeah. He had a big set of Argonauts to fight all these skeletons.
To fight skeletons, because like, what are you going to stab? There's nothing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he fights these skeletons. Some of them are skeletons, and some of them are people inside skeletons. Not very.
Yeah, that's what it's like fucking a real older lady, like someone who's like 22 in the medieval times.
Well, this is before like the great CGI that we got from like movies like Lawnmower Man, which came out around the same time.
Yes, this does not have the amazing technological advances of, say, a food fight kind of movie.
But yeah, he has to go up against this army, and what does he do? He goes full throttle and says, hey, here's what I gotta do, guys. I gotta do this my way. It's the Ash way, okay? Which means I'm gonna make love to this princess, ?
First of all, prima nocta.
And then I'm only gonna have a stake in this fight if she somehow gets kidnapped and totally deflowered, which is weird because we had a love scene, but it's cut out of the theatrical, by the evil version of myself, who is a
Grossed
skeleton Toxic Avenger looking guy. Not a handsome fellow like me.
And he's like, "Oh, hello, Ash.
He's German.
You think the darkness is your friend?"
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're doing...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
right,
buddy.
Yeah. Very good. So, we get to the titular Army of Darkness battle. That's the movie.
With all these Yosemite Sam skeletons.
Yeah, where they're all like jiping and japing in between, where they're like, yeah, put your backbone into it. And the one's like, I'm going to cut your gizzard out. Hey, where'd he go?
Right. And they're like, no bones about it. They're like making puns about being skeletons. Hey, you mentioned the gizzard thing. I'm so glad you brought that up. Because Ash gets attacked by 3 different skeletons that say something about his gizzard. Like one says, "I'm going to slice your gizzard." And that's the one that Ash climbs up the rope and he goes, "I'm going to slice your gizzard." Hey, where'd you go? Where'd he go? And then he drops like a theater bag, a theater stage sandbag on top of him.
Yeah.
And then another one's like, "I'm going to slice your gizzard." And
I mean, I'm pretty impressed they could see.
and the one's like, "Where's that gizzard?" Humans don't have gizzards. Why? And they were presumably humans once. So why are they obsessed with gizzards?
They didn't know. They probably heard it in passing. Like they're on the train, like on the way.
Oh yeah, they were at Elisa's Fried Chicken, and someone ordered gizzards, and they're like, "That sounds good. That's a fun word to say."
Yeah. Oh, gizzards belong in animals.
Hang on. Sorry. We'll take 5 3-pieces. Let's take a side of those gizzards. Those sound good.
They're like, "Hey, no, don't eat that. It'll rot your brain." What? I don't got nothing.
Whackity, sackity.
Can't rot what you don't got. It's like, wait a minute. How are you talking right now?
But then Ash gets to go back to the future eventually.
And chills out with Doc and Marty McFly.
That's right.
Gonna go back in Deadites. That's in a couple of versions of the movie. And actually all of them, because he does go into the future in all of them. Just one of them, he goes a little too far. Because he slept too long, if you know what I mean. I'm winking at you guys.
Oh, yeah. He has to say Klaatu Barada Nikto. Anyone know what movie that's originally from? Hang on. Give them a chance to think of it.
I didn't.
You'll never guess it. It's fine.
And you'll never know. Now, you guys all out there probably think, hey, these film guys know films. They're probably going to talk about Evil Dead 2013. Well, we're not. Although we are going to say a couple things. Which is, I don't like this movie. Conrad?
Yeah, I couldn't finish it.
Yeah, here's the thing. This movie came out during a time when torture porn was like all
real
the
hot.
rage. It was real hot.
It made my dick hard.
And since these fellows, Sam Raimi and co, were like, oh man, we've been trying to make Evil Dead 4 for a real long time, and we have an opportunity. Oh, but they want to do like a classic, let's remake the Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. Let's go full horror. Okay, sure. Just to keep it alive, blah, blah, blah. It's not great. It's not garbage, but it's just, it's just an ugly, kind of horrible movie.
Yeah, it's like I was expecting a steak and you gave me a McDonald's burger.
Hey, I'll scarf those down if I'm on the road.
Listen. It's gonna look the same in the morning, if you know what I mean. But
blood. Because I like it rare.
You should go to a doctor. That rare meat doesn't do that.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Moving on. If in case you guys didn't know, or maybe you do, and this is why you're listening. That's right. You put in the 2 hours of this to get to here. The comics. Now, Conrad here doesn't like to read, so he's unfamiliar. Yeah. He's unfamiliar with the comics, so I'll just kind of breeze through it real quick.
To be fair, I think reading comics is more like looking at comics, but
I mean, I'd say comic books are between the Sunday Funnies and
the Sunday Scaries.
Well, in this case, it leans a little more towards some of these scary.
There you go.
But the comics are great. I mean, they're fun, and they vary a lot. It picks up from Army of Darkness. It goes into there's a shop till you drop storyline where he comes back to the shop, the S-Mart, and there's a thing. And goes here and there, and he battles the original monsters, the werewolf man and Dracula. Yes, that's true. And at the end of this particular storyline, through the Necronomicon, he is traversed into the Marvel universe. I don't know if you know, there was this thing called the Marvel Zombies, which was a limited series.
I do know about Marvel Zombies. Yeah.
I love the Marvel Zombies, written by Robert Kirkman, who did The Walking Dead, and it was called Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness, which is weird because that's not what happened,
right?
But
they weren't fighting the Deadites.
It was branding. So he comes into this universe, and it's great because like the Ash humor is there because he's looking at like the Scarlet Witch, and her get up, and he's like, "Oh, look at you, hot mama."
More like the Scarlet Bitch.
The Scarlet
Come get
bitch.
some.
He was trying to get some of her and Dazzler from the X-Men, just being like, "Oh, look at you, hot mamas. Don't worry, Daddy's here to save you from these zombies," or what he was calling them, Deadites. But at the end of this series, he finds an opportunity to travel back to his world, and it actually ties in with the original ending of Army of Darkness because he travels to the wrong universe, which is, oh my God, the world has ended. I went too far. But then they reboot the series and whatever. It follows them through it, and it's fine. I haven't read the new stuff in the last 5 years, but it just continues. It's basically an alternate version of what we see now, which continued into Ash versus Evil Dead.
That's right.
Great
show.
But before we get to that, I wanted to finish up with which is somewhat canon, which is the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. They made 2 of these limited series. There are 6 issues each. The first one picks up 5 years after Freddy versus Jason. And if you haven't heard us chuckleheads talk about Freddy versus Jason, check it out. It came after our last franchise frenzy where we talked about the Jason movies.
And it actually came after our first live IRL show. And there's another one coming up this year.
There's another one coming up. Yeah, so stay tuned, lovely spectators.
So buckle up, because you're probably driving while you're listening to this.
Buckle up, because we're going to get fuckled up when we do the show.
What else is new?
But Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, it was a continuation of Freddy versus Jason more than it was Evil Dead, because he only just kind of casually mentions, "Oh, I was in a cabin, and here's another Linda played by a different person in the comic."
A different actress in the comic?
In the comic. It wasn't Bridget Fonda or anyone else. But in this story, it's basically Freddy lives in Jason's mind. He lives in his dreams, and he's trying to get him, just like in Freddy vs. Jason, to come back to life and kill everyone. But Freddy learns of the existence of the Necronomicon, which just so happens to be located at
Camp Crystal Lake.
Yes, the cabin at Camp Crystal Lake. That's the cabin in this lore. And so Freddy's trying to get Jason to go there.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah, it is. And especially when you're tying them together, it's not even like trying too hard. It's just, Camp Crystal Lake, cabin, Freddy, dreams, whatever. And so Freddy reads the book, which makes him real. And he gets killed.
Spoiler.
Ash basically, reads from the Necronomicon and sends Freddy to the Deadite world and sends Jason to the ice cold world of Under the Lake.
They're probably happy there. Like, that's actually a happy ending. Like, Freddy in the Deadite world, he's like, "Hey, let me get some of that bone zone."
Well, I mean, it's like sending Beetlejuice to the underworld. It's like, if he's not taunting real people, it's not fun.
He has to adapt.
He wants to kill those juicy children. Those fuzzy children. He needs to throw back a fuzzy child and kill a fuzzy child. But in the sequel, Nightmare Warriors, not to be confused with Dream
Warriors, yeah.
It's basically the same story again, except now it's Freddy wants to use Jason to take over the world.
Which is what happened in Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, and he starts with the president. It's like the Gremlins going to New York.
He doesn't understand that the president is largely just
just a puppet.
Just a puppet. Yeah.
Yeah, Freddy learns the hard way. He's like, shit, I don't have any real power at all.
I need to go after the Senate whip.
And then he winks at the camera, a.k.a. you, the reader of the comic. But that's pretty much it.
I never thought about the fact that you are the camera of the comic.
Yes, I say when we cut. But anyway, that's the alternative, whatever. But if you are a fan of the Evil Dead stuff, they make an Ash versus Evil Dead
they did
show, which they couldn't call it Ash versus Army of Darkness, which makes more sense because of, that's right, legal reasons, because ownership and people are not as fun or creative when that happens. But we got a really cool show.
It's better than Chucky, the show.
Oh, my God. I never want to talk about that. Jesus. That's why we didn't talk about it in
That's right.
our Chucky, our
That's
Chold
right.
series.
That's right. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that Chold.
No, but I check out the series. We're not going to really go into it very much, but, it kind of continues the Evil Dead 2 Army. It kind of like actually splits the difference between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2, where it's silly and it's funny, but it's really scary and really
it is
really cool.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Great acting.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil the ending for you guys, but it's unfortunate the series was not renewed for a fourth season. But the ending of the third series kind of feels like it's on its way into a new direction.
Hopefully we'll
which
see
you
something
might
else from it.
think it's going into a movie that
Wink.
might be discussed at some point. It's not at all.
Well, Jono, the time has come. All good franchise frenzies must come to a frenzy. It's time for us to rate the franchise movies. So, starting with our
All of them.
worst pick,
Yeah. As tradition.
as the opposite of tradition.
Oh, yeah, wait, you're right. It's the opposite of tradition.
I'm trying to right
Wait,
the ship.
No, we have to do the best.
Okay,
first.
we have to do the best first. Let's try to
Or,
right the
or
ship.
did we already write? I don't remember. We course.
All right. So starting with our very favorite then.
Okay.
As is tradition.
Sure, yeah. Let's just make it happen.
What is your favorite of the three?
My favorite with a bullet, or maybe with a...
Chainsaw?
Thank you. It's got to be Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is... Oh my God, really?
Wait, are you saying Dead by Dawn or a different movie?
Dead by Dawn.
Okay, cool. Just making sure you didn't say Dead by Dawn. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, here, let me backtrack here. Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn is my favorite of the 4 current Evil Dead movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't think I was going to say Army of Darkness, did you?
Well, funny you say that because my
your
favorite of the three is Evil Dead 2
Oh my
Dead by
God.
Dawn. Of
Why would you
course.
do
Come
that?
on.
We've known each other.
Obviously.
We've known each other for so long. Why would you almost give me a heart attack?
Of course. I mean, come on. Like the laughing scene alone. It was the perfect balance of a horror and humor. Yes. It was when Ash started to develop as a character. Come on. It's great.
It's got everything. It's got some experimental stuff. It's horror. It's comedy. But it's not a horror comedy, like by way of like Shaun of the Dead or something like that.
It's not comedy with a horror background. It simultaneously acts as a horror and a comedy.
It is, because a lot, and that's the thing that makes it so unique, and why it is genuinely in my personal like top 5 best movies of all time. Because when it plays comedy, it doesn't play it to the audience. The comedy is played to the characters in a very weird, unique way, which is funny but taken very seriously. I don't know. It's great. It's awesome.
Agreed. All
So
right.
let's move on to the
Our
second.
middle favorite.
Our middle favorite. Well, Army of Darkness. Because you're doing it again.
I'm not doing anything. I'm literally listening to you. You know what? It's that you're not used to me sitting and listening to you.
I know. It's blowing my mind.
Interrupting you.
Or acting very gregariously.
Yeah.
No, Army of Darkness, because I think, it's so funny. It's so great. It's not as great to me now as I thought when I was a kid. Just like when you, as a kid, you thought Return of the Jedi was better, but then you're like, Empire is obviously the best one. But Army of Darkness, it's just so great. Let me guess. It's your turn next.
I have to mirror you.
Uh-oh.
Except I'm the evil Ash in the mirror because Evil Dead 1 is my second choice.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, dude, pencil ankle, puppet bouncing in the cellar.
These are strong points.
So, yeah, come on. I mean, so many great moments. And it was my first exposure to the series.
And the sound design. I mean, all of them are great, but that's all I can say about that. Well, Evil Dead is my third.
Yeah, well, and I think it's clear Army of Darkness is my third because it is just cuckoo bananas.
Which I can understand. You know, I absolutely can. It's not like because Army of Darkness, again, it just doesn't have the horror.
Also, to be clear, I mean, we're talking about ranking within these three movies. It doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just my least favorite of the three. I still like it. I like all of them. They're all really fun.
Well, except for the fourth one, Evil Dead Rise.
Ugh.
That one's on the bottom of a list. So far...
That one did... Oh, yeah, I wasn't even including
So far on
that.
the bottom, it's like not even on there.
We're not even talking about it. It doesn't exist to me.
No, it's like a grocery list when you're like eggs, milk, and then you're like...
Squash.
What? Well, you heard it here, folks. It's Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Who reigns over the filthy primates from Army of Darkness. You see what I did there? And also, of note, we were very good at voting which one would win.
Hey, folks, if you've got something to say about our opinions, don't be a Deadite. Why don't you rev up your hand chainsaw and chop your words up and send them down to battlesatfilmfightspodcast.com. Also, why don't you go back in time over to social media where Facebook and Instagram, Film Fights Podcast. Hey, why don't you come get some and rate and review us wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, maybe you'll get some sugar, baby.
That's right. Other Ash things.
And by sugar, I mean, I don't know, like a sticker or something.
We might give you a sticker. Why don't you ask us already?
Ask us. We'll mail it to you for free of cost.
That's right.
And once you've done all that, you can come back to this podcast, because I know you press pause to do all that stuff, and listen as I reveal to you all exactly what I think the whole Ashaverse universe is going to do for Evil Dead Rise. That's right. He's going to totally reveal that that he's pregnant. Oh, I'm sorry. Druggers. How about just druggers?
Druggers?
Yeah, druggers. Like truckers, but druggers.
I'm a long-haul drugger. I've sprinkled cocaine from here to Nebraska. And I've seen some crazy things along the way. Why don't you join me here on the Travel Channel?
Oh, it's a show.
I mean, Everything's a show.
Everything's
Jono.
a show, yeah. If you go to everythingsashow.com.
Yeah, Ice Road Druggers. How do you think they stay awake so they don't slip?
Oh, yeah, they're skiing those slopes.
That's right. That's right. And the ice they're talking about, crystal
Diamonds.
methamphetamine. Oh, diamonds.
Yeah. You know, like,
Well, they call it diamonds if it's real good.
like what rappers wear or have in their mouth.
Drugs.
All right, here we go.